Welcome to Farming Aid. Imagine a cow so rare, it almost disappeared forever. A breed pushed to the edge of extinction, not because it was weak, but because it didn't fit the modern farming mold. Now imagine that same cow making an unexpected comeback, not through genetics labs or government rescue plans, but through one simple, powerful thing: flavor. Welcome to the story of the Irish Moiled. In today's video, we're diving into one of the most fascinating beef stories you've probably never heard. This isn't just about meat. It's about survival, heritage, and the incredible taste that brought a forgotten breed back from the brink. We're talking creamy marbling, deep umami, and a unique pasture-raised flavor that food lovers and chefs can't get enough of. So, how did this humble cow go from near extinction to a rising star on gourmet menus? Stick around, because this story proves that sometimes saving a breed starts with one bite and ends with a revival. Let's explore how Irish moiled beef is changing the way we think about meat, farming, and the value of preserving the past. The Irish moiled is one of the few surviving breeds native to Ireland. Its name comes from the Gaelic male, meaning bald or polled, referring to the breed's naturally hornless head. With their red-speckled coats and broad backs, these animals are as striking in appearance as they are in personality. For centuries, they were prized as triple-purpose animals, valued for milk, meat, and even light draft work. In traditional Irish farming, versatility was everything. A cow that could feed the family, help plow the land, and produce beef for market was invaluable. For much of Irish history, the mouthwatering, as farmers affectionately call it, was at the center of rural life. But as agriculture moved into the industrial era, the moiled couldn't keep up with specialized commercial breeds. It was nearly game over. By the 1980s, fewer than 30 Irish moiled cows were left in the world. Just a handful of breeders, many of them hobbyists or small-scale farmers, kept the lineage alive. They were seen as quaint, even obsolete. Why bother with a slow-growing heritage breed when you could raise Charolais or Limousin that packed on muscle twice as fast? But something started to change in the food world. Chefs, food critics, and butchers began to tire of uniform cuts of meat that looked perfect but tasted bland. People wanted flavor again. They wanted beef that told a story. And that's when the Irish moiled came back into the spotlight. Unlike mass-produced commercial beef, Irish moiled beef is slow-grown on natural pasture. The cattle are typically reared in low-input systems, grazing on clover-rich meadows and rough terrain that commercial breeds might avoid. This diet, combined with the moiled's slower metabolism, leads to a marbling of fat within the muscle that's subtle but game-changing in taste. The beef has a creamy, buttery texture with a deep, beefy umami that chefs describe as both old-world and luxurious. It's not just flavor, it's depth. It's a reminder of what beef used to taste like before everything became fast, cheap, and uniform. But flavor alone wasn't enough. The breed still needed champions, people willing to invest time, land, and money into animals that would take longer to mature and produce smaller carcasses compared to modern giants. Fortunately, a group of passionate farmers, conservationists, and food advocates formed the Irish Moiled Cattle Society, working to preserve and promote the breed. They weren't just saving cows. They were protecting biodiversity and restoring balance to farming systems that had leaned too far into monoculture. And slowly but surely, people began to listen. Moiled beef started showing up at farmers' markets, high-end restaurants, and artisan butcher shops. Word spread, and demand grew. One of the key turning points was the breed's appearance in farm-to-table restaurants that celebrated local, seasonal, and sustainable food. For chefs wanting to stand out, Irish moiled beef offered an authentic story that customers could sink their teeth into. It wasn't just delicious, it was ethical. These animals were raised slowly, with care, in natural surroundings, and their very survival depended on people continuing to eat them. Ironically, eating the breed became the best way to save it. More demand meant more breeding, which meant more herds and more genetic diversity. The Moiled was back in business, but the success of Irish moiled beef isn't just a feel-good foodie tale. It's also a powerful case study in sustainable livestock farming. These cattle are perfectly adapted to the Irish landscape. They don't need high-protein feeds or intensive housing. They thrive on rough grazing, can handle wet climates, and rarely suffer from the health issues that plague some modern breeds. That makes them ideal for low-input, regenerative systems, where animals work with the land instead of against it. For farmers, this translates into lower costs and more resilience. For the environment, it means healthier soils, more biodiversity, and fewer emissions. In a world where the meat industry is under pressure to clean up its act, breeds like the Irish Moiled point the way forward. And then there's the human side of this story, the farmers. Talk to anyone raising Moileds today, and you'll hear the same thing. These animals have personality. They're gentle, hardy, and easy to manage. Many are run in small family herds where each animal is known by name. Calving is usually straightforward, and the cows are attentive mothers. In a world that often treats livestock like widgets in a factory, the relationship between Moiled farmers and their cattle feels refreshingly personal. That bond translates into better animal welfare, which in turn feeds back into the quality of the beef. It's all connected. Of course, the Irish Moiled's comeback hasn't been without challenges. Scaling up is hard when you're working with a rare breed. Maintaining genetic diversity means careful breeding programs, and the temptation to crossbreed for faster gains is always there. Marketing is another hurdle. Not every consumer knows what a walleye is, let alone why it's special. But that's slowly changing. Organizations are working on traceability and certification schemes to guarantee authenticity. Some restaurants now proudly list 100% Irish Moiled beef on their menus, and chefs are posting about it on social media. It's not quite mainstream, but it's gaining ground. One of the beautiful ironies of this story is that the same traits that almost wiped out the walleye, its slowness, its hardiness, its old-fashioned genetics, have now become its greatest strengths. In a world moving toward quality over quantity, where food provenance matters and customers want more than just a pretty cut of meat, the Irish Moiled delivers. It proves that small-scale, traditional breeds can not only survive but thrive in the modern marketplace, if they're paired with the right story, the right advocates, and yes, the right flavor. As interest in heritage meats continues to rise, the Irish Moiled offers lessons for other endangered breeds around the world. Flavor matters, story matters, but above all, connection matters. When people feel connected to their food, when they know where it comes from, how it was raised, and why it tastes the way it does, they care more. They support more. And that changes everything. That's why this story is bigger than one breed or one island. It's about redefining success in farming, not by how fast you can grow an animal or how big you can make it, but by how well that animal fits into the ecosystem, the community, and the plate. Looking ahead, the future for Irish Moiled beef looks promising. New breeders are getting involved, especially younger farmers who see value in going against the grain. Culinary schools are teaching students about heritage meats, and more butchers are learning how to work with smaller, leaner carcasses that offer intense flavor over sheer volume. The breed is even starting to gain interest overseas, with export inquiries from chefs and breeders in Europe and North America. That's not to say it will ever become the next Angus or Wagyu. It's simply not built for scale. But that's okay. Its strength lies in staying true to its roots, offering something distinct, meaningful, and absolutely delicious. So, the next time you sit down to a steak or a Sunday roast, think about where that meat came from. Think about the story behind it. Because sometimes, saving a breed doesn't start in a lab or a museum. It starts with a bite. One bite of rich, marbled, deeply satisfying Irish Moiled beef might just change your palate and your perspective forever. It's not just a meal. It's a revival, a reminder that flavor, when rooted in tradition and raised with care, can do more than satisfy hunger. It can preserve culture. It can rebuild farming. And in the case of the Irish Moiled, it can even save a breed from extinction. The Irish Moiled is more than just a rare cattle breed. It's a living reminder of what we lose when we chase speed over quality, and what we can gain when we slow down and taste the difference. Its comeback story isn't about trends or marketing gimmicks. It's about real farmers, real flavor, and a deep respect for heritage. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as inspiring as we did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing journeys from the world of livestock, food, and farming. See you in the next one.